Chapter 9, The Delhi Sultanate, Part 2. In this part, we will discuss about the first two dynasties of the Delhi Sultanate, namely the Slave dynasty and the Khilji dynasty. When Muhammad Ghori died in 1206 CE, Qutbuddin Aibak, his lieutenant, declared himself as an independent ruler and laid the foundation of the Delhi Sultanate under a new dynasty popularly known as the Slave dynasty that existed from 1206 to 1290. Now, why it was known as Slave dynasty? Because most of its rulers had begun their life as slaves of the Sultan. Qutbuddin Aibak, however, ruled only for 4 years from 1206 to 1210 CE. So he could not establish a sound system of administration. But during his reign, he built two mosques. One is at Delhi, Quwwatul Islam Mosque, and one at Ajmer. He also started the construction of Qutub Minar, which was later on completed by his son-in-law Iltutmish. Successors of Qutbuddin Aibak. Qutbuddin Aibak was succeeded by Aram Shah, but soon he became victim of nobles' conspiracy and could rule only for 1 year. He was replaced by Iltutmish, who was son-in-law of Qutbuddin Aibak in 1211 CE, and he ruled till 1236 CE. He was considered as the true consolidator of the Turkish conquest in India by the nobles. He became ruler in 1211 CE and made Delhi his capital. He was the first ruler to introduce a purely Arabic coinage. Due to the incompetency of his sons, incompetency means lack of ability to rule an empire, he declared his daughter Razia as the next sultana. Razia was a brave lady and led her army in the battlefield. But nobles conspired against her also, and she was defeated by Altunia, who was the governor of Sarhind. Later, Razia married Altunia, but nobles conspired against both of them and they both were murdered in 1240 CE. After the death of Razia, there was a war of succession among the sons of Iltutmish, and finally Nasruddin Mahmud, who was the youngest son of Iltutmish, became ruler in 1246 CE after 6 years of internal war of succession, and he ruled till 1265 CE. But he was a pleasure-loving and weak ruler, and therefore he left all his empire and its administration in the hands of Ghiyasuddin Balban, who was the leader of the 40 powerful nobles. After the death of Nasruddin Mahmud, Balban ascended the throne and became ruler in 1266 CE. He adopted a policy of sternness and severity, means a policy of strictness and unkind behavior towards its people and nobles, and instilled fear in the minds of the nobles by giving severe punishment for even small offences. Sometimes some of them were publicly executed. He built a line of forts in the northwest frontier to prevent Mongols from entering India. Finally, Balban died in 1287 CE, and with the death of Balban ended the slave dynasty and a new dynasty arose known as the Khilji dynasty. The successors of Balban were very weak. A grandson of Balban, known as Kaikubad, was murdered in 1290 CE, and finally the Sultanate passed on into the hands of the Khiljis that led to the establishment of the Khilji dynasty, who ruled from 1290 to 1320 CE. Jalaluddin Khilji was the first ruler of this dynasty, who ruled only for 6 years from 1290 CE to 1296 CE. Due to his short reign, he could not bring any important changes in the administrative system. Alauddin Khilji. Alauddin Khilji was a nephew and son-in-law of Jalaluddin Khilji, and he ascended the throne by murdering his aged uncle Jalaluddin Khilji, and he ruled from 1296 to 1316 CE. As soon as he became the ruler, he started his military expeditions and he raided or looted Malwa and Gujarat and defeated the Rajput rulers of Ranthambore and Chittor. After that, he turned towards the four wealthy kingdoms of the Deccan, namely Yadavas of Devagiri, Kakatiyas of Warangal, Hoysalas of Devasamudra, and the Pandya kingdom. Before this, no other North Indian army had managed to come so far as the extreme south of the peninsula. Afterwards, Alauddin Khilji entrusted the task of his Deccan conquest to his military commander Malik Kafur. Malik Kafur captured an immense booty, means he captured a huge wealth consisting of hundreds of elephants, thousands of horses, gold and jewels in large quantities from the southern kingdoms. But here the southern kingdoms were not annexed by Alauddin Khilji. They were just asked to accept his overlordship and to pay him tribute for peace and protection. During Alauddin Khilji's reign, Mongols attacked India again and again, but each and every time they were defeated by the Khiljis. Revenue and administrative measures taken by Alauddin Khilji. Alauddin Khilji initiated, means started, a series of revenue and administrative measures to curb or to control the power of his nobles. For this, he revoked or confiscated or taken back all land grants made as gifts to Muslim landlords or Muslim clergies and redistributed them according to his will. He gave harsh treatment to Hindu landlords called mukaddams or chaudhries, as since he has to maintain a huge army at a very small pay or salary, he ensured that basic commodities or the essential commodities needed for a life must be available at a very low price in the market. For this, he tried to regulate, means tried to control the prices of food grains, sugar, cooking oil, cloth, horses, cattle, slaves, and other commodities to help the common people, especially the soldiers. And for this, the traders were asked to sell all their commodities at fixed rates. And to make ensure that all the rules and regulations are being followed, he appointed two officers called Diwane Riyasat and Shahnai Mandi. Those who violated the regulations were given severe punishment during his reign. In brief, we can say that Alauddin believed in the majesty of the monarch, means in the divine rule of the monarch, and he thought that king is the God's representative on earth.